Welcome to another episode of the Insert Name Here Vodcast show where we talk about geek culture, news, and lifestyle. I guess we are up to episode 20 where we are going to talk about
The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Rise of Electro.
Yeah, so look, let's talk about it, but I want to start backwards a little bit, and what I mean by that is I'm going to talk about the credit scene. So
well, the button scene or the
stinger.
Is that what they call it? I think so. It's a stinger. I don't know. What do you call it?
So for anyone that hasn't watched it out there, number one, when it comes to any movie, Marvel movie or comic book movie, you know to stay for the credit scenes because there's always going to be an after credit scene or something like that.
We shouldn't have to tell you this.
Yeah, and in Captain America: Winter Soldier, there was two of them, right? So
Thor had two of them as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. So with Spider-Man, obviously there is one in there being a Marvel movie.
Just one.
But I can tell you right now, don't waste your time watching it. It's got nothing related to Spider-Man itself.
As soon as the credit starts, just
go. Just go. It's not worth waiting.
And if anyone tells you to stick around because there's something to watch, don't bother.
Only for this Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well, we can tell you what it is. It's an X-Men thing. It's not related to anything. It's basically a trailer.
Yeah. It's a particular scene from the X-Men.
It's a trailer. It's got nothing to do with anything. There's no crossover.
Time. Yeah, I was very disappointed. So
with that out of the way, let's just talk
let's
straight away about what we thought about the movie overall.
Okay,
spoiler free.
Cool. So Amazing Spider-Man 2, I overall enjoyed it. That being said, I enjoyed the first one. I like the casting of Andrew Garfield, which we will talk about that a little bit more in a second. But Amazing Spider-Man 2, I thought it was a very fun movie. It's one where you can bring the kids along and watch it, whereas something like, and I know I shouldn't be really making comparison, but Winter Soldier, it's more of an adult-ish theme, right? It's a bit more darker, you know what I mean? So this one I think is a little bit better in the sense, well, not better, but it's a very fun movie.
It's a different movie. I agree that it's a fun movie. I don't think it's that great a movie either. Now, most of you should know that I wasn't hugely fond of the first Amazing Spider-Man movie.
I liked it.
I didn't think it was a bad movie. It was fun, and this one is fun as well. I would recommend you watch it. I think it is worthwhile.
Yep.
But I didn't think it was that good a movie at all. There's a lot of flaws with it. There's a lot to like. Or there's a little bit to like about it, but I didn't think it was that good. So
okay, well look, let's rate it first, and then we'll start breaking it down. So what would you give it out of 5? Out of 5? Out of 10? Which one do you prefer?
Oh, let's go out of 5.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
yeah. So I'd probably give it 2.5 webs out of 5.
Okay,
Webb.
I'll give it 3.5. 3.5 out of 5, I think. Yeah.
Well, I guess we can go a little bit more in depth. We can get into the more spoiler aspect of things. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Our recommendation is to watch it.
Yeah. We'll obviously put a spoiler alert now, but I mean, we won't really try to spoil it too much. But anyways, okay, let's get into it. So,
Andrew Garfield. Did you like Andrew Garfield?
I've always liked Andrew Garfield as the Peter Parker character. Only because I think he's got the right build as Spider-Man. He's not bulky. He's got the slim but toned sort of look. He's got the smart-assiness to him when he is Spider-Man. And I'm taking it as it is an updated version of Peter Parker to these days. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Look, I still think Andrew Garfield is very hipsterish. You know, I like Andrew Garfield. I feel like I should always clarify that I like Andrew Garfield. I just don't really like this version of Peter Parker, this new modern, updated Peter Parker. I don't think he's really that likable as Peter Parker.
Why?
Well, because did he do anything as Peter Parker that really endears him to the fans or to the audience? Like Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, how could you not like him? Young or old, he was good to his Guardians. He always did the right thing, except once.
Wait. But the Gar Parker, the Gar Parker, he showed that he cared for Aunt May. There was that one particular scene where he was in the bedroom and she was having a bit of a cry or a sook about it. That you know, she's like, your uncle, you know, your father was not saying he's a bad man, but he didn't care, like whinging he didn't care. That's why he dropped him off.
That was the one scene I missed because I actually went to the toilet. That was the one point I went to the toilet. It's true. I was waiting for a break in the movie and I thought, well, this is a quiet part. I don't want to miss anything else.
Well, there you go. You missed it.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. She was having a bit of a whinge, saying, because he was pretty much.
Well, when I spoke to my brother afterwards, he's talking about how his father.
He pretty much said he needs to know. Parker was saying he needs to know, and the Aunt May was pretty much just saying, Right. Well, this is how it is.
And
you
he
know,
just
dumped
trained to
you,
work or
basically.
something, right?
Yeah. And then Parker.
So that's
pretty
what
much-
happened?
And
Wow.
she got upset because she was like, "You're my son," sort of thing. You know. He said, "I am your son." So he vocally
Well,
and
still,
physically showed.
that was one moment out of a whole scene of, oh, don't come in, I'm very naked in here, and he still has that stupid mechanism on the lock where, that
yes,
latching mechanism,
yes.
that was
It
ridiculous.
shows the nerdiness of him. Oh, talking about mechanisms, I don't like the way that they've done the little web slinger. It looks like it's a you know
Little
how
toy?
it looks like a little toy. It's a
Yeah.
red color. I like the first one where it was like a watch that he modified. Right, it was a watch, and that's what he was using. That was cool. But this one is like, what? Did you go to
he's
manufacture it or
updated.
something, or
Well,
you know what I'm saying here?
okay,
right?
so visually
And
you didn't like that.
I visually didn't like it, and I don't like the fact that he's not putting in web cartridges like in the old school Spider-Man.
He'd be running out of
He'd be
cartridges
running out
and
of
all that.
cartridges, right? That
Yeah.
was cool. That was one thing that he always had to think about. When he's fighting this, fighting that, doing that, he always had to worry about.
Well, had to ration out his
Yeah,
his web.
exactly. This one is like just using it whenever he wanted to. But anyways, let's keep on going.
Well, so and Andrew Garfield, I think I like Andrew again. I like Andrew Garfield. I don't like the material that he was given. I think he did the best with what he had. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
fair.
my preference about
That-
Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
That I can understand.
This version, at least.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to.
I think we're gonna talk about the villains.
Okay, let's talk
What's
about
next?
films. So who do you want to talk about first? Gobby? Green
Uh,
Gobby?
Now, did they never called him that, did they?
They didn't call him the Green Goblin, no. But I mean, he is the Green Goblin.
Now, I actually don't mind that guy, the casting of that guy as Harry,
right.
as the Green Goblin, but you were not as impressed by him.
No, because this is the hard part for me because it's always in comparison to the original true story versus what's been
True story.
Yeah,
That's funny.
versus what's updated. Do you know?
Right, right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I know,
here,
you're
right?
talking about the original characterization of it.
Yeah, and Harry to me has always been a bit more of a nerdy, sort of guy who's unsure about himself. Whereas this kid, I mean, I'm sure he's unsure about himself, but he seems more confident. He's got money, and you know what I mean? Like he's more.
I thought he looked like that.
He looks like a villain.
He looks like a villain.
He looks like a villain,
and
yeah.
he looks like that spoiled rich kid. He had that look. He had that the
Right.
asymmetrical haircut, which I really don't like. He looked like a villain.
Yeah, right.
And again, I don't think he was given that much.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think you're meant to be sympathetic for him at all.
Right.
Uh,
But wasn't
I-
Harry a good guy in the comics? He was a good guy.
I think, yeah.
He was Peter Parker's good mate.
Yeah.
He was.
And
but
I think
this
he was
one,
a victim of his father being completely, nuts.
yeah. All right, but look,
But you didn't like that guy, the actor who I can never pronounce his name.
I like him as an actor. I like him in Chronicle, but I just don't like him for this particular casting of Harry Osborn. I don't. The fact that as well that we didn't really see much of Norman Osborn, and it's like Harry Osborn is the first Green Goblin. I'm going on a wild guess, unless they decide for Amazing Spider-Man 3, if they decide to go back and revisit how that all works, that's a different story. But
Well, the only
You know what I'm
issue,
saying?
the only
It's
issue I
odd.
have with him is that there is a scene where Peter's talking about how, the last time I saw you, you had like 2 supermodels on your arm. I don't believe for a second that guy could get 2 supermodels.
hey, wait, it's all about the money though.
Well, trust me,
it's how it works.
I have money, and not even I could pull that off.
I'm sure you can, man.
What about Electro? There was another one which I think is.
I didn't like the casting for that as well. I don't. Character-wise, I just didn't care for him at all. Initially,
I think the casting was okay.
Initially, what's his name? Max. I felt sorry for
Matt
him.
Dillon.
Yeah.
Max Dillon.
Yeah.
Not Matt Dillon.
I felt sorry for him because he was like this, socially awkward, for the lack of a better word, loser, I guess you can call it. And that's a really harsh way to say it, but realistically, that's what it is, as simple as it can be, right? I felt really bad for him. And then all of a sudden, turn 180, he decides that he wants to destroy everything. He wants to destroy Spider. It's like, what?
To me,
what just happened?
To me, that summarizes the Spider-Man movies in the sense that it's very much a kids' movie.
It is definitely
It's
a
very
kids' movie.
simple. The
It
way he
is.
was written was simple.
It is,
His
absolutely.
origin was simple.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like
Yep.
those other more serious Marvel movies or even
Yeah.
DC movies where the characters they treat it more seriously and write them to be a bit more.
No, I agree,
believable.
and hence why I always say this movie is like a very fun, family-filled movie. Sort of
Except
thing.
right at the end, which we'll get to. But one thing that I kind of didn't understand is that there's a scene where he's got a gap in his tooth, right?
Yeah,
And then when he
what-
gets bitten, it fuses.
Yeah, I didn't understand that part.
Now, am I missing something here? I mean,
You're the dentist. You tell me. Is it possible?
but,
Can I fix up my gap by doing that?
if any of my patients are watching this, no, I can't close gaps in your teeth by giving you electric shocks to your head.
All right.
But
You
I mean,
sure?
is there some sort of character building moment? Like,
I have no
why,
idea.
Why give him the gap in the tooth to begin with? Is it because it's to illustrate what a loser is outside of being?
I don't know.
It was
maybe
weird. I didn't
maybe
like
it's
it.
maybe it's the transformation of
As
this
if being
guy
blue
becoming-
was.
I
Yeah.
don't know, man. Like it. Yeah, that didn't make sense. To
Well,
me
talking
at all.
about the ending and more specifically Gwen Stacy, I think we both agree that
Yeah.
Emma Stone is great.
Absolutely, I'm a huge fan of Emma
She looks
Stone.
better as
She's-
a brunette, in my opinion, or even as a redhead.
She looks better as anything. Like she's cute as hell. She's very cute, you know. And I think it's the voice as well. Oh, her voice. But anyways,
I thought she was great as Gwen.
As Gwen, she's great. I like the.
She's probably the best thing about the movie, in my opinion.
Look, I well, I wouldn't say the best thing, but I would agree that she's very, very well casted. I like the character. I really cared for the character. She's smart. She's witty. She's strong. She's not a damsel in distress who's always crying for help.
She's not the typical
She can, you know,
victim.
she can hold her own. you
Yeah.
know, and that's what I like about her. She can hold her own. That's great.
I think it was almost to a fault that she could hold her own, that she was always insisting that she'd be part of the action.
Right.
But I think Emma Stone's the scenes with her in it specifically, I felt that they were the best bits. You know, you could really feel that she was that she cared about Peter and she was torn about the situation that he was in.
I gotta say, I don't like the way that Peter handled their breakup / makeup.
Exactly. Well, see, that's what I don't
I
really
didn't
like
like
that
that.
version.
Maybe
Tobey
that-
Maguire's Peter Parker would never have done that. I'm just saying.
Maybe that's what kids do these days. I don't know. I don't know.
How old are we?
I know. I feel. Oh my god. Anyways, lastly, spoiler alert. Obviously, spoiler alert.
In case you haven't got the
we
message.
know that Gwen Stacy dies in this movie. What did you think about that?
I thought it was handled pretty well, actually. They didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
They
you
had
about
the
the
goblin.
scene.
They had the they had Webb, chasing after her. Well, I think it was done quite well.
Yeah.
A little bit overly melodramatic. I don't know if I really cared for the Webb turning into a hand,
going like
you know?
that and like
I might come
reaching in.
around to that the more I think about it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was one moment where the slow motion was done well.
And you know what? That's a very great point about slow motion. I just want to quickly touch on that. I like the scenes in the start where you get the camera angle of Spider-Man from his chest, I believe, upwards, swinging through the city and different sort of angles. I did not care for the slow motion to keep on putting in there, just like in Amazing Spider-Man 1, at the very last bit where he's like shooting out his web. I did not care for that sort of stuff. So when he's swinging, I don't think you need to put that in. But in a scenario where it's in the Times Square scene where he presses, he one of his web shooters is gone. He uses the other. He uses it.
It's more dramatic. I know,
works,
yeah.
and in that last scene with Gwen Stacy, where the web comes out and it looks like
It's
a hand,
building the
and
drama.
I like
It
that.
works.
But anyways, go on. Sorry. Anyway.
Well, I was just gonna say I like the way it was handled. I like the way it was executed. I'm sad that that they killed her off.
Look, I don't mind that they didn't do it on the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't mind that they didn't do exactly the way they did in the comics. And I thought this way was pretty damn cool. In the sense of it's like, whoa, it's just as bad, she dies. I gotta say, I knew it was leading up to it. I was getting really anxious on my seat and I was literally moving around. I was like, oh god, it's gonna happen now. And you know what? Officially, I will say that I actually cried. I actually cried when it happened. I felt so bad. It's not funny.
Well, here's the thing. I think I'm more sad that Emma Stone died, or Emma Stone's character died more than Gwen
Right.
Stacy. Not to say I didn't like Gwen Stacy, but I just loved Emma Stone that much in the movie. Well, last thing before we wrap this up, the Rhino.
Useless, didn't need to be in there, leave it out. Full stop. Put it in the first scene.
The trailer
that's fine.
telegraphed it.
The last scene, just, what's the point? What's the point? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was completely wasted. I think Paul Giamatti's a better penguin, but that's a completely other story video that I will do
Good
later
casting. That's actually a good casting.
So, would you watch the movie again?
Not for a while. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but I think there's other movies I'd rather watch at this stage. Like, I would watch Winter Soldier again.
I would watch Winter Soldier again. I think it suffers following the footsteps of Winter Soldier, having that come out first.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to watch the movie again until maybe a week before the third one comes out.
Predictions? Do you have any predictions for Amazing Spider-Man 3?
I predict that Mary Jane is going to be nowhere near as likable as Gwen Stacy, and I think the movie will continue its mediocre run as being just a fun family movie.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously, there will be an appearance of MJ, definitely. So.
Well, I think that should just about wrap it up for us today. So let us know what you think. Leave us a comment in the vlog section, the comment section.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we'll catch you guys next time.
See you guys.
Adios.